Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the IS-6, a Russian rank 4 premium heavy tank that currently costs $40 USD and currently sits at 7.0 BR in RP. I'll be going over a ton in this video, including its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses. I'll grade it in several different important categories, and then I'll end it with my final recommendation if I think this tank is worth purchasing or not. With that said though, let's get into the video. Now to start, I'll place its stats here on the left side of the screen. Its important stats to know are its horsepower, armor, and reload speed. Additionally, this premium pack comes with 1000 GE and 7 days of premium time, again currently at $40 USD. Now let's get into how it plays. The IS-6 is an interesting vehicle because, like many other vehicles in War Thunder that have been around for quite a while in-game, it is no longer a dominant vehicle, but has evolved into a still strong niche vehicle. It has a powerful 122mm cannon that has the same ammunition as what the IS-2 has, but has a substantially faster reload speed. In much the same way, the IS-6 has a faster reload than the similar BR IS-3, although the IS-3 can use the great BR-471D shell, while the IS-6 only has access to the lesser BR-471B shell. What is also interesting is that the IS-6 is surprisingly fast, being able to move like a 35 to 40 ton medium tank rather than the 51 ton heavy tank that it is. This will allow you to speed around the battlefield, capturing control points that most heavy tanks would struggle to reach before they've already been taken. It also allows you to flank exceptionally well for a heavy tank. This, combined with its substantially better reload speed, excellent off-road mobility, and improved turret traverse over other Soviet heavies, makes the IS-6 an excellent option for frontline assaults and flanking. While it has an armor layout similar to the IS-2 1944, with the same frontal armor thickness, though about 5 degrees better slope, making it easier to bounce enemy shells and gives it better effective thickness. Further, it has outstanding side armor with 120mm at best, and just average rear armor at 60mm. Another strength of the IS-6 armor layout is in its turret, which has 150mm of armor in the front and is shaped more similarly to a T-54's, the shape of which gives the IS-6 excellent resistance against similar and lower BR shells that might hit it. In all, one could say that the IS-6 is a fairly versatile tank in that it does not necessarily do anything amazingly, but will allow a variety of players to perform very well with it. That said though, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and as always, I'll start with its strengths first. First and foremost, it has excellent mobility. The IS-6 feels at times more like a medium tank than a heavy. It accelerates well, has good top speed, is great off-road, and has a pretty darn good reverse speed. This is a rare heavy tank that you can cap bases with as well as flank. Second, it has a good cannon and much better reload than the IS-2 and IS-3, though it does still have a somewhat slow reload unless the crew is trained well. Either way, a fully trained IS-6 crew can reload in 15.8 seconds compared to the 20 seconds that the IS-3 has with a very similar cannon, although, like I said before, the IS-3 does have a better top shell. Third, the IS-6 has great overall armor and will often withstand short-range direct shots from lower BR, though still powerful cannons. Fourth, it has an HMG on top, which is good for air defense and in taking out unarmored or lightly armored enemies. Beyond this, though not great, it has a decent turret traverse rate, better than what's on the IS-2 and IS-3, which again feeds into its ability to be able to flank, because if you can turn your turret faster, you can flank a little bit more effectively than you might otherwise be able to. For its sixth strength, it has angled armor around the rear corners of the tank, which actually helps to deflect some shots, not many, but it might save you a few times over a good amount of matches. And finally, it has premium RP and SL bonuses. And now for its weaknesses, the IS-3, which sits at the same 7.0 BR that the IS-6 currently sits at, has the BR-471D shell, of which has 230mm of armor pen at max, albeit again with a slightly lesser reload speed and explosive filler amount. Secondly, the IS-6 has a 4-man crew despite being a heavy tank. This means that poor survivability will be a problem after being hit, or at best, if you're lucky to survive, you'll have an extremely slow reload speed once your loader dies. Third, it has an awful 3 degrees of turret depression, suppression, though this is typical of most Russian heavy tanks or just tanks in general. Fourth, it has only 100mm of frontal hull armor, which is lower than what you find on the IS-3. Although the IS-6 has a very high armor slope of over 60 degrees, the IS-3 has a pike nose, which serves better in deflecting shells over what the IS-6 has. Fifth, and thankfully this is a somewhat minor one, but it does not have neutral steering, which slightly hampers its otherwise great maneuverability. And finally, the IS-6 is bad for the bee population, as you can see in this video. Now, let's get into my final recommendation on if I think that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. Now, due to the similarity of their BRs, the IS-3 and IS-6 will always be compared to one another. While the IS-6 has some features that are better, namely its mobility and fire rate, allowing it to be a better flanker, the IS-3 is much more of a heavy tank that heavy tank fans would like. I would say that the IS-6 is oddly closer to a medium tank than its size, weight, armor, and cannon would suggest, though it is still no spring chicken when compared to, for example, a Leopard tank. So don't go ahead and think that I'm saying that this is a medium tank like heavy tank, because not entirely, but it is still very fast for a heavy tank. The speed does, however, allow it to have much greater versatility than most similar BR heavies and even some mediums. That said though, let's get into some ratings for how it performs. First, for the IS-6's cannon, I give it a 7 out of 10. It's a bit tough to place because while it is certainly powerful, it is not as powerful as, again, the IS-3's cannon. Although the IS-6 has a much better fire rate. While the IS-6 does not benefit from the much improved BR-471D shell, its substantially better fire rate over the IS-3 and IS-2 is enough to bridge the gap, and for many people makes it even better than what it would otherwise be with the 471D, because some people, like me, prefer the reload over the slightly better armor pen. For survivability, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. I give the IS-6 this rating because while it greatly benefits from good frontal and side turret armor and shape, as well as good armor angle on the frontal glacis and excellent side hull armor, it will still encounter heat FS much more regularly at its BR than it would maybe at 6.7 BR. Additionally, the frontal hull armor is only 100mm, and despite its excellent armor angle of 65 degrees, it is still simply insufficient to ward off many cannons in and around this BR on a regular basis. In a down tier, however, the IS-6's armor is quite a bit more effective than the 6.5 out of 10 rating that I give it for its armor in most matches and in most situations. For maneuverability, I give the IS-6 a 7.5 out of 10, as it is exceptionally mobile for not only a heavy tank, but also for a tank of this BR. While you likely will be slightly slower than many medium tanks, you will still move faster than nearly all heavy tanks on your team and on the enemy team. This is of great use in flanking and base capture maneuvers. While it isn't the greatest, it is great for what it is. Overall, I give the IS-6 a 7 out of 10 because while it doesn't have the strongest cannon, it reloads fairly decently. While it isn't the fastest, it is still faster than many tanks, especially heavies. And while you won't survive every shot, plus you only have a 4-man crew, it will still survive most shots, especially with proper angling. Now, the IS-6 is not a perfect tank, but in my time while using it, I have found it to be very good at many things. So finally, should you buy the IS-6? In most of my reviews, or at least in most of my recent ones, I've given the answer of yes and no. But in this instance, I will say that the IS-6 is still definitely worthy of purchase. The IS-6 has a little something for everyone, and while I've stated it numerous times already, I don't feel that its lack of the superior BR-471D ammo will hamper it all that much, especially considering its much improved reload time. I was genuinely expecting a blasé experience when I played this vehicle throughout the review period, but it has proven me wrong, and I'm extremely happy to report this. While some players may prefer the Tiger II SLA-16 as it has a better sniper with better accuracy and ammo at a superior BR being at 6.7, the SLA-16 will not move as well as the IS-6, even despite the SLA's superior engine compared to the regular Tiger IIs. In much the same way, while it may not be as powerful of a cannon as what the American T29 Premium might have, or as good of a reload, it is much more maneuverable and features better armor overall when considering turret shape and general armor slope, as well as armor thickness around the entirety of the vehicle. Basically, while those tanks are great at their own things, such as sniping or being able to just blow tanks apart from a close range, the IS-6 is uniquely very good at doing a little of everything. So yes, I can easily endorse this vehicle as a good purchase. Now that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please also like and subscribe, as those help to propel my channel into outer space. Either way, thanks again everyone. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care everyone.